Hello, second year dental students. In this week, we will draw the mandibular second premolar. You have the drawing and the dimensions from your textbook as seen in millimeters and multiplied by 4 in the table for all of the length of the crown and the root, mesiodistally and labiolingually, since it's a lower premolar. And we have also the cervical line curvature, which tapes more in the mesial curvature, as we know. We start with the illustrating the mandibular second premolar, drawing it from all the 5 aspects. The mandibular second premolar, it resembles the mandibular first premolar, but only from the buccal aspect. So we will see now as generally it is the largest tooth premolar, the largest premolar tooth, which has the most development in all aspects. This tooth will have 2 common forms, and we will see the most common, most often, which have the 3 cusp type. So this is the buccal aspect of the mandibular left second premolar. We will draw this time the mandibular, so the crown will be upward and the root will be downward. This is the left side, so here we have in left-sided teeth, here is the mesial and here is the distal side. We will draw as usual. We will take attention for the cusp tip and the mesial and distal contact areas. At first, what we will do is drawing of the So at first we will draw the midline as well. And we will draw the 3/3, which are the cervical, the middle, and the occlusal third. We will have this time the length of the crown is 8 millimeters multiplied by 4, 32 millimeters. We'll have 3/3 as 11, 12, and 11 millimeters. So in this aspect, we will see that the buccal cusp tip tends to be mesial to the midline. If we draw a midline here, it tends to be mesial to the midline. This means that the mesial slope is shorter than the distal slope. Okay, and also we should see that distal and mesial contact areas, they lie at the same level, almost at the junction between the middle and occlusal thirds. From cervix, we will go 10 and 10 millimeters, while the width from the maximum width is 7 multiplied by 2, 14 millimeters from each side. Okay, so here is the buccal aspect of the second left premolar, mandibular second premolar, which looks a little like of the canine, mandibular canine. Moving to the lingual aspect, which is same but inverse image of the buccal. We can see here the both the buccal and the lingual cusps, both cusps. So we can see the three cusps from this aspect. This is my midline, this is the mesial, and here is the distal. Same, the contact points at 14 millimeters from the midline, and it seems like the two lingual cusps. We have two lingual cusps, one that is called mesiolingual and one that is the small distolingual cusp. The lingual cusps, they lie at almost above the 1/3, so it is at almost first fourth of the crown, of length of the crown, which is all 32 millimeters. Why we draw it like this? Because we have a tendency towards the distal. This is the mesial marginal ridge that do not appear. All of this is the mesiolingual, and this is the small distolingual cusp. From this aspect, there is no occlusal surface can be seen from the lingual aspect, very little, and of the buccal cusp only, and no lingual convergence is seen as seen in the lower first premolar. If you want to see the crown is inclined distally. The buccal cusp tip is inclined mesially, while the root apex is inclined distally. We have only one root for the mandibular first and second premolars. Thirdly, you should move to the mesial aspect of the mandibular left second premolar. As noted, you should draw your midline and the 3/3 of the crown. At cervix, it is 14, 7 multiplied by 2, and at the maximum height of contours, or the maximum width, buccolingually is 32 millimeters. So what we will see is the location of the cusps and the height of contours, both buccally and lingually. The buccal height of contour, as you can see here, it is located 16 millimeters from the midline and in the middle cervical third. Middle of the cervical third, here it is located, while the distal, buccal height of contour, lingual height of contour is normally at the middle of the middle third, also 16 millimeters away. So this resembles normally as we go posteriorly, always the buccal height of contour lies more cervically, while the lingual height of contour lies more occlusally. This is the aspect. As you can see you can draw your buccal cusp 3 millimeters away from the midline, more buccally, and it lies perpendicular. We don't have, what we see from here is the mesial marginal ridge, which is straight, and you see the mesiolingual cusp. Where do we draw the mesiolingual cusp? It lies just above the lingual height of contour, you go just up and you draw it at a length almost fourth the width of the crown. What do you mean fourth width of the crown? It means 8 millimeters shorter than the buccal cusp. Also, what you should notice here, the cervical, mesial cervical line that is almost here. In the cervical line, the mesial cervical line. As we move to the distal aspect or the distal view, both lingual cusps can be seen. You can see the distal lingual cusp and the mesiolingual cusps, plus the buccal cusp, of course. This is the same drawing of the midline, buccal cusp, mesiolingual cusp at fourth of the crown, and the distolingual cusp, which is almost 4 millimeters shorter, 1 millimeter multiplied by 4, almost 4 millimeters shorter than the mesiolingual cusp. Both cusps can be seen from here because the distal marginal ridge is straight and it is showing more of the occlusal aspect. You can see little of the occlusal aspect of the tooth, while same the lingual height of contour and the buccal height of contour. The meeting contact of the three cusps together lies almost 3 millimeters lingual to the midline, giving the buccal cusp the most and the largest diameter with 2/3, while 1/3 for the lingual cusps. 1/3 the buccolingual dimension. Finally, students, you should draw the occlusal aspect of the tooth. It has a shape that is square, since we have a great buccolingual as well as mesiodistal dimension that is equal. The buccolingual and the mesiodistal dimension are equal, and they measure 32 millimeters, making a shape of a square shape. You can see mostly that this occlusal aspect has very well formed ridges around the cusps. Here is the location of the buccal cusp, and you can see as for the left-sided teeth, this is the mesial and this is the distal. We have a larger mesiolingual than distolingual cusp. If you draw the midline, you can see that the buccal cusp has almost 2/3 of the crown, while both lingual cusps has 1/3 of the crown. What also you should note that the cusp tip tends to go buccal cusp tip more mesially. The mesial slope is shorter than the distal slope. You will draw both of these at a mesially. You will put the point at almost third the buccolingual width, while distally you'll end the distal slope at fourth the length of the crown. Also, you should see that the shape of the developmental occlusal, the developmental groove is a Y-shaped with a central fossa and a central pit in the middle. The developmental grooves end with two triangular fossae, mesial and distal triangular fossae, which are at the marginal ridges. The mesial and the distal marginal ridges are equal in size and parallel to each other. You should draw the lingual groove that separates the mesiolingual from the distolingual groove, while this is the buccal cusp, the largest cusp. By this, we should have finished the 5 aspects of the mandibular left second premolar. Be aware of the more roundation in the second premolar and the more developmental grooves that you should be aware of. Very little will be of cutting will be done in this occlusal aspect, third cut. Only from the buccal aspect. The most work for the occlusal surface will be the mesial and distal triangular ridges of the buccal cusp. The drawing should be very easy for you as you have much practiced, and good luck.